Now, regular Autocar Show viewers will remember that earlier this year we'd gone to Europe to drive Renault's first SUV for India. This was of course the Koleos. We drove it there, told you what it's like, but now is the facelifted Koleos that is coming into the Indian market. It has been launched in China and in India first before going to the rest of the world. What are the changes? Well, quite clearly the looks, but we are going to tell you about everything we know about the new Koleos. Thankfully, the new facelifted Koleos is a lot easier on the eye than the outgoing design. The headlamps are smarter, longer design, and the biggest improvement here is the grille. This single-piece hexagonal design is 10 times better than the earlier one. There's a more sculpted look to the fender, and the fog lamp housing is more striking too. Unlike the front, there are no changes to the sides, which continue to look quite plain and generic. The rear too is designed with the same organically styled tail lamps, though there is one bit that's unchanged, and I'm glad for it. Now, one thing I really like is the tailgate, because this is a split tailgate. So press the button here, the top goes up, pull this handle, and the bottom out section flips out like this, like a nice picnic tray. And of course you have lots of storage room here because the boot is nice and big. Underneath all that there's a lot of space, and under here you have your full-size spare wheel. In fact, there is 450 liters of boot space, and that's without folding the seats down, which can be done in a jiffy, resulting in 1350 liters of space and a flat floor. Although hauling the luggage in will be a bit tough because of the high boot opening. And just so that you know, the tailgate can double up as a picnic table and a bench. After all, it's capable of taking the weight of 2 adults. Overall, the Koleos looks more sleek than sturdy. It's more crossover than traditional SUV. The tame styling isn't going to turn a lot of heads either. On the inside too, the Koleos doesn't feel immediately exciting. Now, the interior does feel quite familiar because, well, the design is the same. The dashboard is still that massive expanse of brown, which just doesn't look all that nice, and the material, though soft touch and generally nice, doesn't feel premium in that sense. However, the equipment list on the Koleos is quite good. The Koleos is being offered in only the top of the line variant, which comes loaded with dual zone climate control, rear parking sensors, light sensors, and a phenomenal sounding 8-speaker Bose music system. In fact, the Koleos carries Bose co-branding, as is evident by the Bose badges on the door sill and the fenders. You can hook up your music via USB, Bluetooth, or auxiliary in connection. However, navigating through the menu can be frustrating, and the LCD screen in the center feels too small and could do with a better quality display. Even the control stalk for the driver, tucked away behind the steering wheel, is difficult to get used to. The Koleos also features a keyless entry system with a push-button start. There are a lot of safety features such as 6 airbags, ABS, EBD, and anti-whiplash headrests as standard. The driving position is simply superb, and the driver's seat gets fully powered seat adjustments. The front seats are supportive and comfortable, reducing the fatigue over long journeys significantly. Now, the back seat is quite a nice place to be for various different reasons. One is good under-thigh support, there's good headroom. You have nice things like this tray for your use where you can store a drink and of course keep some food stuff to eat on. Don't think about keeping your laptop here, even though it's quite sturdy. I don't think it'd be able to take that much load. That aside, you can also adjust the recline angle of the seat using this pull here. You can make it very upright or, well, make it a bit more relaxed like this. Apart from that, there are other features like this window shade. You have dedicated aircon vents, and you have this mode here to control the fan speed. A tap and you get a low fan speed, and then of course a high fan speed. Then it was time to test the Koleos' 2-litre 150 bhp diesel motor. It's the same engine seen on Nissan's X-Trail, but here the common rail motor's power is channelized via 6-speed automatic transmission, and as a result, power delivery has been blunted here. Now on paper, the Koleos' engine has quite a bit of power, but when you hit the road you realize that it really isn't all that enthusiastic. Power is delivered pretty much at higher revs. The mid-range doesn't work all that well. It's only post 2,500 RPM. It starts pulling, and still it's not that diesel grunt that you expect. And even if you end up working it hard, what happens is you get a light whine and a bit of resonance from the engine bay post 3,800 RPM. So you really don't feel like working this engine hard. Now when you're on the highway, you often get slowed down by, well, slow moving traffic, and in which case in the Koleos, once you lose space, you're going to have to put your foot down heavy, let the gearbox shift down a gear or two, work itself up, and then overtake. So in our conditions, it really doesn't feel all that relaxed. But if you decide to take things down a couple of notches and take it easy, then the Koleos really feels nice and relaxed, whether it's cruising down the highway or ambling around in the city. Now the 6-speed automatic transmission offers smooth, prompt shifts, though it isn't exactly sporty. To get more control over the gear shifts, it's better to shift to manual mode. Here you get prompt downshifts from the gearbox, although upshifts aren't as quick. But by and large, this gearbox is a good piece of kit. Now with the 4-wheel drive system, you have the option of running in 2-wheel drive with automatic 4-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive lock, which is meant for off-road. The 4-wheel drive automatic mode is more of a dynamic aid. It's meant to tighten up the Koleos' on-road behavior rather than support its off-road excursions. Pitch the Koleos hard into a corner and the 4-wheel drive setup will transfer torque from the slipping front wheels to the rear, getting you out of the corner faster and cleaner. On the suspension front, the Koleos uses McPherson struts up front and a multi-link setup at the rear. This has been tuned to give the Koleos a special suppleness without compromising on body control. The suspension also has been set up to be quite nice and pliant. It handles most of the imperfections of the road, just glosses over them. It's only over some sharp bumps or potholes that you can feel underlying firmness. Overall, it's really very nice. At high speeds you get some body movement, but nothing you can complain about. Like I said, the comfort setup doesn't compromise dynamics massively like on other big hulking SUVs. The Koleos doesn't lurch around corners like most SUVs. In fact, it has very good body control. It feels more car-like rather than an SUV, and that's all thanks to that slight firmness that the suspension has. The Koleos has a nice positive turn-in. Sure, there is some amount of roll. After all, it is quite a tall vehicle. Now the electric steering here is nice. It's got a consistent weight. It doesn't weigh up with speed, but it's got a nice decent weight to it, and it is nice and direct. So all of it put together makes it very easy to place this SUV exactly where you want it. So on the dynamic front, the Koleos is quite easy to enjoy on a long drive and on the twisties. Now only if its drivetrain could catch up. So is the Koleos ready to shake up the urban SUV segment? Now Renault's Koleos SUV has come in with a lot going for it, starting with its kit list. It's got so much equipment, 6 airbags, dual zone climate control, it's got 4-wheel drive system, a diesel engine, it's got that cruise control, that incredible Bose music system, really very well packaged. It's also got very nice ride quality, it's very well behaved around corners, it's got good amount of space on the inside, seats are nice and supportive, so good SUV that way, but it lacks critically in two areas. One, the engine doesn't have all that much punch, and when it comes to that plush feel that you want from your luxury SUV, you don't really get that despite all the equipment and the space. So at 22.99 lakh rupees ex-showroom Delhi, the Koleos ends up feeling a bit pricey.